Hey everyone, this is Steve. Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break for a Friday. You'll see I'm here by myself today, which is because this had to have been one of the worst travel weeks in the US in a long time, probably this entire winter, maybe several winters ago. We were out at a great event on earlier in the week. The event was on Tuesday by our friends at Hire EZ, formerly Hire Tool. It was out in California on Tuesday. It was a super event. They announced their rebranding to Hire EZ. They announced some new funding, some really exciting things on their product roadmap. It was a really fun event. Got to see some folks I hadn't seen since prior to the pandemic. Really good event all around. But then, of course, due to the awful winter storm that's kind of traversed the entire United States, it seems like this week. It took me a couple of days to get home. Trish is still trying to get home, I believe, like 3 days later, but hopefully she's doing well today. So I'm here for a couple of minutes. I did want to check in since I haven't actually been on this show all week because I was traveling and then with the storms and whatnot. I did want to mention there were two really important U.S. labor market reports that came out this week. First, the JOLTS report, job openings and labor turnover summary, my favorite report, once again showed nearly record high job openings in the United States, 10.9 million as of the end of December 2021. Quits once again above 4 million at 4.3 million for the month of December. Quits have been over 4 million for something like 7 or 8 months in a row. It's incredible. That was a couple of million in a normal month prior to the pandemic. And finally, the one number kind of buried in the news a little bit, but I wanted to point out was the layoffs and discharges rate. So this is basically involuntary separations, layoffs, discharges, basically folks getting terminated involuntarily, was 0.8% in December. That's an all-time series low. The JOLTS report's been around for about 20 years. So the layoffs and discharges, all-time series low, obviously reflects an incredibly tight labor market where there's an extended level of really, really high openings. No employers really want to be terminating folks because they can't find folks to replace them anyway. So discharge rate of that low is really kind of unprecedented. And then the normal jobs report came out this morning. Today's Friday, February 4th. Blow away expectations. Lots of economists were thinking about a job loss in December, mainly due to Omicron and all the cases that had surged around the country in December. But no, it was a gain of 467,000 jobs. Unemployment rate ticked up just slightly to 4%, which is still really, really low and almost near the pre-pandemic low of 3.5%. And in other good news, labor force participation went up 0.3%, and wages continue to go up, which is, again, all reflecting this incredibly tight labor market. Lots of opportunities for people for both finding jobs, finding new jobs, and increasing the salaries and wages that they're getting either in a new job or in their even existing job, right? In an environment where employers are really reluctant to let people go. The negotiating power for employees has maybe never been better in the US. I think that's pretty awesome. And hopefully folks are out there finding opportunities that they're looking for and that they deserve, honestly. A couple of other quick notes. In light of the labor market and the really tight labor market, I read earlier this week that Home Depot, right, the national home improvement chain, is announced they're looking to hire an additional 100,000 employees for their busy spring season, right? So once the weather turns nicer, everybody runs out to get plants and mulch and other home improvement supplies, right? Start working on projects, especially outside projects. So they're always hiring lots of folks in the spring season. The last couple of years, it was around 80,000 employees. Now they're looking to hire 100,000 employees. I'm super fascinated by these kinds of mass hiring events, particularly now this year, right? In a labor market that we just talked about how tight it was. So I'm actually trying to get someone from Home Depot, a rep from talent acquisition or HR on the podcast, on the HR Happy Hour show, to talk to us about how they're going to actually hire 100,000 employees in a really short period of time in the tightest labor market we've seen in years and years, maybe ever. So look for that. I hope we can get that pulled off in the next week or two. Last thing I wanted to mention, this weekend, Winter Olympics. I'm a big fan of curling. I actually started watching the curling competition last night. I probably will be hunkered in this weekend watching about 27 hours of curling. Hopefully, if you're a Winter Olympics fan, you can dive in as well. Go Team USA. Mixed doubles curling, I think, is awesome. And I've never curled, but I'd like to get out there and try it someday. I'll have to look around. I wonder if there's curling in the Charlotte area. I'll have to do a quick Google search. One last thing, just read this a few minutes before going live on the show. 2,000 adults surveyed by Ohio-based pizza chain Donato's revealed the 3 least favorite pizza toppings. And I bet you can guess what they are. It's pretty simple. Anchovies. I can't remember even ever having anchovies on a pizza, but I guess it's still a thing out there somewhere. That's the worst. Pineapple, next least favorite. Awful. If you're putting pineapple on your pizza, you got other problems probably that we probably would need to discuss, and that would take a longer time. And then finally, jalapeno peppers. Again, not seeming to me like a real pizza topping at all. But the other interesting thing about this survey, and I'll clock into a yes on this: 94% of people surveyed, 94% had reported they had eaten pizza at least once in the past 30 days. And I can't think of a better kind of hunkered in at home during bad weather kind of food to get you through a tough weekend. So, all right, I think that's it. Hopefully, if you've had to deal with the awful weather in the US, maybe you're still digging out right now. Hopefully you're doing okay with that. Hopefully your power stays on, your roads get cleared, and you can get DoorDash or Instacart if you're locked in. I'm hopefully have a good weekend. Going to catch a lot of Olympics. European soccer coming back after a long international break. My Wolfsburg team really needs a win. I'll be pulling for them this weekend as well. So remember, you can check out all the show archives. We posted 2 HR Happy Hour shows this past week, one with our friends at Unum and one with our friends at HireEZ to talk about some of their new news, their new branding, and some of the initiatives that they got going on there. You can check out those shows and all the other shows on the HR Happy Hour podcast network at hrhappyhour.net. Hopefully all this bad weather's behind us. We'll be back in business next week. Trish and I will be back with you on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.